A US senator just told worried constituents we're all going to die. And no, she wasn't joking. This is the brutal reality of what's happening to American healthcare. What would you do if your government looked you in the eye and said, "You're losing your healthcare, but hey, we're all going to die anyway"? That's exactly what just happened in the US. Republican Senator Joni Ernst, facing frustrated voters concerned about deep cuts to essential programs like Medicaid and food assistance, responded with a shocking shrug. We're all going to die. Yes, seriously. This all stems from the Republican-backed reconciliation bill, which is essentially a budget plan, and at the heart of it, massive cuts to healthcare and social safety nets. Ernst tried to defend it by claiming the bill is just correcting overpayments and removing people who aren't eligible. Translation: they're kicking 1.4 million people off Medicaid, just like that. But that's only the beginning. Independent analysis shows this bill could strip healthcare access from 13.7 million Americans. That's not fraud. That's not cleaning up the system. That's nearly 14 million people, many of them children, the elderly, and low-income families, left without the bare minimum care they rely on to survive. And when her constituents raised real, heartfelt concerns about how these cuts would hurt people, Senator Ernst's reply? A casual comment that, well, we're all going to die anyway. Let that sink in. Imagine if it were her own parents relying on Medicaid, or her child depending on CHIP, the Children's Health Insurance Program. Would she still be so flippant then? But this isn't just about one tone-deaf remark. This is part of a bigger game that's being played in Washington. Politicians throw around words like fraud and abuse to justify gutting programs that help working families. But where are the fraud charges? Where are the actual cases? Because despite the loud accusations, no one's being charged. Because the fraud claim, it's a convenient myth, even when pressed, like when right-wing commentator Tommy Lehrer was asked directly why we keep hearing about fraud with zero prosecutions. There were no real answers, just more deflection. Because the truth is, these cuts aren't about fraud. They're about making room for tax breaks for the wealthy. Senator Ernst isn't alone in this either. She echoed the usual right-wing catchphrases like states' rights and shrinking the federal government, conveniently ignoring that many of the programs being slashed. Healthcare, food assistance are the very things people can't just do on their own. That's why the federal government exists. Ironically, while Republicans talk about limiting federal power, they're also pushing here to centralize authority in the hands of the president. They're working to block judges from stopping illegal executive actions, and even arguing that the president alone should have full control over the executive branch. That's not small government. That's a power grab. And remember, when Roe v. Wade was overturned, Senator Lindsey Graham didn't leave it to the states. He introduced a nationwide abortion ban. So much for states' rights. Let's be honest, this isn't about efficiency or constitutionality. This is about cutting support for everyday people while quietly serving the ultra-rich. Senator Ernst is up for re-election in 2026. But after telling struggling families, we're all going to die, her campaign might have a bigger problem than fraud, and that's accountability. Before you go, if you care about holding politicians accountable and keeping independent media alive, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. YouTube's algorithm isn't always kind to content like this, so if you want to stay connected, make sure to sign up for our free newsletter, just in case.